Mayor. We bring this motion to the Council because it's hard to think of a time when public services have ever come under such strain. Just ask any of your residents who has tried to get a GP appointment, or needed an ambulance, or reported a crime, or was asked to chip in to pay for books at their child's school. It doesn't matter what public service you may have needed in recent months. The frustration, the pain, and delay in trying to access them has been universal. So after 12 years of underinvestment and mismanagement in our public services, what is this government's response? It's to continue with its policy of further cuts and managed decline. With public services already on the brink, this is nothing short of an emergency. Liberal Democrats are proud of its history of creating and investing in public services. From the introduction of national health, unemployment and pension insurance schemes at the start of the 20th century, to William Beveridge's report laying the foundations of the modern welfare state and the NHS during the Second World War, we know that there is no such thing as equal opportunity without strong public services levelling the playing field. Public services represent an investment in people, an investment in their health, education and safety, all of which provide returns for the country, both in terms of productivity, but also in avoided costs later down the line. And that is why this government's withdrawal of investment in public services is so short-sighted. The government may think that they are saving the next generation money, but they are simply storing up problems for the future. If Truss and Kwarteng's budget was a sort of reverse Robin Hood raid on the British public's finances, a sort of armed robbery where nobody was left in doubt about the chaos that was left behind or who indeed was responsible, then Sunak and Hunt's was more like a grand heist. At first glance, the clever sleights of hand and the self-satisfied smiles allowed the suspects to walk freely away from the crime scene. But on closer inspection, the damage is clear for all of us to see. We heard of boasts of an increase to the NHS budget, but left silent was that the money pledged was less than half what NH bosses said they needed just a couple of weeks previous. And one of the greatest pressures on the NHS at the moment is the availability of beds. Our local hospital at St Helier has this very week seen the biggest spike in delayed discharges in the country. The single biggest thing that we could do for bed availability is to fix our broken and underfunded adult social care system. But what did we hear about that in the budget? They've kicked that can down the road yet again. When digging into the text and the tables of the full statement, time and again we see the same thing. A total lack of recognition that public services are already at breaking point. Next to no acknowledgement of just how much inflation is eating up existing budget plans. And on top of that, a whopping commitment to cut further billions and billions from public spending within the next 5 years. You know, at one point the Chancellor posited that he wants Scandinavian quality alongside Singaporean efficiency. But we haven't got either. Ordinary working people, thanks to Hunt's stealth tax rises, are facing the biggest tax burden in decades while having to put up with crumbling public service delivery. Now, the Chancellor wants us to believe that these cuts are an inevitability, that it represents fiscal responsibility after the chaos of his Conservative predecessors. But it really doesn't have to be this way. We mustn't learn the wrong lessons from the disastrous mini-budget. The problem with that budget was there was no plan. There was no OBR forecast, no proper fiscal rules. It was just a debating society assertion that tax cuts for the rich would work for everyone else. We don't have to choose this version of austerity 2.0. This is a political choice. We can choose to invest in public services as long as we have a plan to match it. And the proof? It's not only the countless economists and think tanks that say that we can choose another way, but the dozens of comparable countries that manage their economies differently and the market doesn't run on. It's time to raise the alarm about the state of our public services. Further cuts will result in catastrophic outcomes. The government must change its path before it's too late, and I urge the Council to support this motion.